What's up, Noose? It's the Russian dude. Have you ever heard the phrase, what goes around comes around? Putin looks like sure has, or at least he is starting to. For the first 2 years, Moscow has been carelessly firing missiles, drones, and whatever else its rusting arsenal can launch into Ukrainian cities. Day in, day out, the air raid sirens sounded across Kiev, Mykolaiv, Kherson, Zaporozhye. But then the table started to turn. This is not some fantasy of battlefield victories or waving flags in the Red Square, no. This is a slow, brutal, and increasingly effective grind that hits Russia where it hurts the most. Its infrastructure, its oil, its fragile economy. And this time, Ukraine did not just hit any oil depot, it hit Putin's precious, one of his most favorite cities, Sochi. You remember Sochi, right? The crown jewel of Putin's empire of vanity. The place where he poured billions of dollars to host the Winter Olympics in 2014, in a city where it even barely snows. Winter Olympics. Almost the same as playing outdoor hockey in Florida. Not saying it's impossible, 2026 Winter Classic is indeed happening in South Florida, Florida Panthers versus New York Rangers. But it's only one game versus the entire Olympic extravaganza. But yeah, back to Sochi. The same cities that got more love and development than most of Russia combined, because the Tsar himself likes to sunbathe there. Well, now it's the backdrop of burning fuel tanks and suspended flights. And it's not just about Sochi. This is a message. Ukraine's drone campaign is not random, it's systematic already. They are torching the Kremlin's false sense of security, one drone at a time. And if Putin thought he's the only one who can launch drones with absolutely no consequences, well, he definitely gets to taste his own medicine almost daily or at least weekly at this point. Meanwhile, on the other side of the earth, the United States, with Trump once again blubbering ultimatums, is inching closer towards real economic warfare, not just against Russia, but against the countries that still keep Putin's war machine on life support. The Noose tightens around Russia's economy neck, and the financial wizards still pretend nothing is happening. So today, let's break it all down. The fire in Sochi, the retaliatory strikes on both sides, Trump's update to 10-day countdown to Armageddon, and Ukraine's not-so-gentle nudge to strangle the Russian economy until it just simply stops twitching. We got, guys, a lot to cover, so let's get straight into it. There's poetic justice in watching Sochi burn. Not because fire is fun, but because symbolism matters. This is the city where Putin posed for cameras, showed all his might to the world, and built shiny ski slopes that nobody even asked for. This was his personal Disneyland, his glittering lie that said, look, Russia is modern. Well, now that oil depot exploding into the night sky has, well, ruined this illusion. Let's get straight to the facts. A Ukrainian drone slams into a fuel tank in Sochi, igniting a fire. No casualties, they say, and does not even need that. That was not the intention. The wound is psychological, which in modern warfare is 10 times more impactful than the actual military losses. Putin can just always recruit more soldiers, but making people of Russia forget what they saw on the internet, the burning depot, the feeling of being exposed and being vulnerable, that is something the propaganda will have a hard time erasing from their memories. And the most important part of it all, it happened in Sochi. Because Sochi is not just some kind of another town, it's Russia's front porch. Clean, rich, well guarded. Or at least it was. That porch just got kicked in by a flying homemade toaster with explosives. The airport shut down briefly, air traffic halted, firefighters scrambled. And through it all, Putin said, you guessed it, absolutely nothing. Why? Because the last thing he wants is to admit that his favorite toy is now within the reach of Ukrainian revenge. This comes just after a strike on Ryazan's oil refinery in central Russia. Another fire, another blow. These are not random acts, they are part of a campaign. While Russians scroll their propaganda feeds showing fireworks over Kiev, Ukraine is silently mapping, planning, and executing a form of war Moscow never prepared for. And here's the kicker. It's cheap, very cheap. No need for stealth bombers or advanced jets. Just drones and some IT brains, that's pretty much it. And maybe a map with Putin's vacation homes, commonly known as daches marked in red. But okay, Putin was silent to it all. Was there any, then, response from at least Russia whatsoever? Let's talk about it in our next chapter. So, what does Putin's Russia do in return? The same thing it always does. Bomb civilian areas. Every Ukrainian success must be punished tenfold. It's not strategy, it's vindictiveness. The kind of a bully uses when he is being embarrassed. But unlike before, there is now a rhythm to this violence, a tit-for-tat pattern that grows uglier by the week. Every drone that hits Russian soil is followed by a tantrum of missile launches across Ukraine. And still, it changes nothing. Because every Russian missile confirms what Ukraine already knows. That this war has no moral compass, definitely not coming from Putin. It's not about territory or defense anymore, it's about dominance. About turning an entire nation into cautionary tale. But here's the bad news for Vladimir Vladimirovich. It's not working for him. Ukraine is not surrendering, it is adapting. And while it may lack F-35s or endless ammo, it has one thing Russia fears the most: resilience that spreads. And that resilience is not just in the trenches or command centers. It is in the skies, buzzing through cheap drones built on repurposed garages, guided by software that costs less than AK spare parts. These are not just attacks, they are announcements. We see you, we can reach you, and we are not done yet. Besides Ukraine, the rest of the world sees these attacks as well, especially the allies of Ukraine such as the United States, and they try to adapt their foreign policy and strategy accordingly. Let's talk about the most recent developments within the Trump's administration in our next chapter. Now let's talk about Donald Trump, the man who went from tweeting gibberish to casually threatening nuclear war like he is hosting a reality TV show. Back in July, Trump said he would give Putin 50 days to agree to a ceasefire. That window is now shrinking fast. As most of you guys know, he slashed it down to only 10 days. That's not a timeline, that's a threat wrapped in a deadline. And the message is clear: stop the war or the gloves will come off. Let's see if it actually remains just a message or if there will be some kind of actions taken. I guess we will see soon enough. And sure, Trump is not known for nuances or patience, but even a broken clock shows the correct time twice a day. So he can be dangerous when it's tied to nuclear submarines, especially after Dmitry Medvedev, the Kremlin's favorite keyboard warrior, declared Trump's ultimatum is quote-unquote a step toward war with America. And so Trump responded by ordering 2 nuclear submarines to relocate. Not for war, not yet, but as a warning. At the moment of recording these videos, these submarines are already reportedly stationed near Russian territory. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials are playing the long game. They're not banking on Trump's ego, they're pushing for action, specifically secondary sanctions. Because right now, the only reason Putin's economy still crawls forward is because China, India, and few other, quote-unquote again, neutral states keep buying his oil. Ukraine wants that lifeline cut, and logically so. Andriy Yermak, for example, Zelensky's top aide, said it bluntly: strangle the economy with secondary sanctions. Forget diplomacy, go for the brute force. And here's how it works, at least hypothetically. Secondary sanctions do not just hit Russia alone. They hit anyone who does business with Russia. Think of it as a guild by association, but with teeth. You buy Russian oil, you are out of dollar system. You trade with sanctioned banks, well, just say goodbye to your Western markets. And while this might sound drastic, it's already being considered, at least in Washington. Not just by Trump, but by Democrats and Republicans alike. This is not some economic tantrum, it is a tactical shift. Russia's war machine does not run on ideology, it runs on oil, on trade, on shady deals that feed its budget. Take that away, and suddenly the missiles stop flying, not because of peace talks, but because there is no fuel, pun intended, left to launch them. Despite all the noise, one thing is becoming obvious. Russia is running out of options. When you're firing over 6,000 drones and missiles in a single month, you're not winning, you're just trying to create the illusion of strength. It is what insecure regimes do when the walls start closing in. They lash out, loudly, violently, desperately. July was a record-breaking month for Russia's missile launches. That is not a victory, not something to be proud of. It is a confession. a confession that the slow bleed of sanctions, the drone strikes, the economic decay, and the battlefield stalemates are catching up. So the Kremlin tries to keep the momentum with pure spectacle. More attacks, more propaganda, more war theater. But the public is not buying it anymore, not even in Russia. When drone debris rains down in Voronezh, injuring civilians and burning homes, it does not feel like defense. It feels like chaos. But the doubt, the creeping realization even among his loyalists that the empire he promised is built on sand, that the war meant to expand Russia has instead exposed its limits, and the world sees through the spectacle, and worse, that Russia's enemies are learning faster than its generals. Even inside Russia, reports are surfacing that the defense ministry is overwhelmed. They claim to have downed nearly 100 Ukrainian drones in a single night. But what kind of country needs to fight off 100 flying bombs every 24 hours? One that's under siege militarily, economically, and psychologically. And that the only answer they offer, just more war, more lies, more death. Because that's the only thing Putin's Russia knows in its modern history. Chechnya, Dagestan, Georgia, South Ossetia, Syria, Mali, and now Ukraine. But does it stop here? Well, guys, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. If you want to keep the Russian dude independent, you can do so by joining the memberships on Patreon. The link is down below and you will get some bonus chapters at the end of each episode. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow.
We won't succumb to their tricks, the facade they try to sell. Their twisted words and feeble claims are resolve they cannot quell. We see through their lies, their feeble attempts to sway. We do not believe in ridiculous Russian propaganda.